Okay, so coming back from the break, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the company that you're looking at here. So this is From the Heart. And From the Heart is a remarkable business that I've had the opportunity to be exposed to. They're a local business here in Windsor, Ontario, on Ottawa Street. And what you're going to learn about From the Heart today is literally that is the nature of their business. What they provide are gifts and greeting card experiences. And I find it absolutely wonderful and breathtaking to be in their store. I met them through a colleague when I was promoting my book. And they mentioned that this store might be interested in selling my book. And so I decided to approach them, and they willingly agreed to promote some of my work. Now, what exactly do they do at From the Heart? And I'll identify just a few things. One of the things I think is really cool, and I'm going to see if I can make this a little bigger here, is their store policy. So there we are. Make it a little bigger here, kind of cover me up. There we are. Let's do it like that. And notice the you cans. They tell you what you can do at From the Heart. You can use the telephone, eat and drink, especially if you share with them, return items, bring kiddies to the play area, ask for help, browse and buy nothing, browse and buy something. You can also sit at their little rest correspondence center that they have. They also enjoy offering the opportunity for children to be dropped off to purchase a gift for the parents. All really remarkable ideas that they have. They like to create a you can space. Here is the little information about their kiddie shopping spree. It's an opportunity where on Mother's Day, Father's Day, birthdays, or Christmas, you can drop your child off. They can go through the store at their leisure, and with some help from the folks that work there, they will help them select based on the budget. And it always seems to be really great. It's three sisters who own the place, and they are very remarkable people. The last item I wanted to promote for them, they have this care of wigs, which is really cool. Often what they do is they offer people to help take care of their wigs, but also purchase wigs. And it's for those who are suffering from an illness that may require them to wish a wig for themselves, or it could just be for fun. Either way, they're very personable, they're very helpful, and they are a wonderful local business that I thought I would share with you. If you have any other ideas for local businesses, I would really enjoy it if you would share them with me and send me the email to them. And let me throw that email up again. There it is. WeWin@timeconsultinginc.com again. So if you have any local businesses or local to your area, or even a large business that you feel really inspires you and shares a positive message, I'd love for you to share them with me so that I can share them with all of the viewers out there. So let's get back to how do we apply this idea of friction to our everyday life? How exactly does it all work? And I'm going to lay in a few interesting ideas for you. What's interesting about friction is we think about friction in relationships as usually being a barrier to success. That when we have friction between people, coworkers, colleagues, or even others, we think of that as a resistance, and that resistance as an annoyance. But what I would propose is that because friction requires opposition for movement, for a relationship to move, you need a little bit of friction. Just a little bit of resistance from each other so that you can grow together. You can realize from a little bit of that pushback where you're going to propel to. Of course, we know that too much friction means you go nowhere, and that makes sense if we have too much friction. However, with too little friction, you also go nowhere. When you're with someone who is identical to you and has everything in common, where there's no disagreement whatsoever, there's not a lot of growth, not a lot of opportunity for growth. And this isn't true just for relationships. This is true for all of life. You need a little bit of friction in your life. When you get a little too comfortable and things get too easy, you can suddenly feel like you're in a rut. You can feel like you're just stuck. And there's all of this. No matter how much you spin your wheels, we have expressions like that. I feel like I'm spinning my wheels, putting in all this effort and going nowhere. And the answer is there is no friction. I seem to have a little technical troubles here. Let's fix that. There we are. Sorry about that. A little bit of lighting troubles. So it's really important to have just a little bit of friction, because when there is no friction, we get stuck. So the question is, what happens if you're at that point in your life where you're spinning your wheels and you feel stuck and you're not sure where to go? Well, just like when a car is stuck on the side of the road and it's spinning its wheels, you have to introduce friction into your life. Excellent. My web guy's telling me I look good, and thank you. You're welcome. Anyway, so it's important to introduce a little bit of friction into your life. How can you do that? By inserting a piece of wood, for example, under the tires. This could mean appointing someone to make you accountable. One of the ways that I did this for myself was creating this here show. It forces me every day to be accountable. At 8:30 p.m., I have an audience who's going to be waiting for me. And that forces me to be accountable to someone. It's just enough friction to have me progress, to create content. And even if I'm the only one watching it, I am being creative, producing new ideas and thoughts and putting them out into the world. So I know that this is a great idea for me. To progress, we need a little bit of something to oppose. It doesn't mean we need to have monumentous things to oppose. Yes. So, what I'm saying is that we need friction, just a little bit. Even if it's a little bit of resistance. I want you to remember, though, that for movement to take place, the movement must exceed the friction. Think of someone like Rosa Parks, who stood up on a bus and opposed the racism of being standing at the back. She had no idea that day that that simple action was going to become such a monumentous thing. And yet, her response and refusal to sit down was enough of a movement that overcame the friction that was present. She made a stand that day. And that stand overcame the boundaries, overcame the friction that was happening. In a similar way, Mahatma Gandhi had also overcome the friction in his country by making a stand, by conducting a salt march in Ahmedabad. So remember, when we're resisting, when there is resistance in our life, we can overcome it. But we must do a measured response. We must overcome the friction. And this is why sometimes when you're pushing against something that is resisting you, you might feel like it's pushing back with as much force. And that's because you haven't begun moving yet. You might need to change directions. Just as a car that's trying to run through a straight wall, there's a lot of friction that's getting in your way. You may need to move around the obstacle. But if it's just a little bit of friction, sometimes just a little bit more effort could push you further, could make you move past that. Which one to do, whether to move around or to move through, that's up to you to decide. That's up to you to figure out. It's important, though, that you make an action. You're either going to move forward by going through or by going around, but you will be able to move forward. Remember that no matter what resistance is in your way, it has a limit. This is something that I really wanted to stress with friction. It has a limit. No matter how much that friction says it wants to match you, you can overcome the friction. You can overcome it by simply realizing I need to put in a little bit more, just a little more time, a little more effort, and you can get there. There's a story I was told once. A man was digging for treasure out west in the Rocky Mountains. He was digging for treasure, and he said to him, and he was digging for gold, and he quit. He quit, and he left. He'd used all his money. He had nothing left, and he had to go home. Well, someone else came, and they dug into the soil, and a half an inch lower, just another centimeter and a half, and they struck gold. Sometimes what's in your way is just a little bit more effort. And sometimes it's a monumental effort and you need to change it. You need to figure out which one is which. There's always different situations for those. So just remember, friction has a limit. Sometimes it may be better for you to move around an obstacle than through, and you need to figure out which. Now, when we're moving, we must find our energy elsewhere. Remember, although this friction can propel us, I'm talking about how we can resist something, and by resisting it and pushing against it, we can propel ourselves in a whole other direction. Remember, though, your energy needs to come from somewhere else. This is not a source of energy. It runs out. It is non-dispersive, and that energy will deplete. So, when you move against it, remember that energy needs to come from somewhere else, from your courage, from your determination, from who you are as a person. and your passion. That's your fuel. That's what's going to propel you forward. Also remember that friction is final. Okay, coming back to that idea of your input's greater than your output. Once energy is spent on friction, it's gone and it doesn't come back. The friction doesn't come back. So just remember, when you are pushing against an object, when you are resisting something or using it to propel you in another direction, just remember, no matter how you deal with friction, those actions are final. And you're not able to change those. You can work with it. You can make good from those actions. You are going to have to live with those actions, though. So just remember those aspects. That summarizes what I was going to say about friction today. It's a very brief lesson, albeit, I think, very profound. We learn a few really key concepts. Friction can be annoying. It can be a bit of a nuisance, but it can propel us forward. It can be something that can help us move. We can use friction to be productive. When we feel stuck, when there's no friction, and I mean zero, you can feel stuck. But you can also use it to propel you forward. You can use it to get you to go places. And how do you do that? By creating a little bit of friction in your life. A little bit of friction can be healthy. A little bit of friction can help you by, for example, having a little bit of accountability. Abraham Lincoln, when he was elected into office, specifically chose as his lead cabinet everyone who disagreed with him. He wanted to be surrounded by people who disagreed with him so that the decisions he made would be good for the country. Because in order to make them, he needed to win over those who disagreed with him. And that is a way to make friction your friend rather than making friction an enemy. Friction is not something that you need to fight against. It is something that you can utilize to your advantage, that you can work with or around it if need be. Friction can be a really essential part of your success. And when you feel that your life is stagnating, when you feel that you're getting into those stuck moments, just remember maybe it's time to introduce just a little bit of friction into your life. I'm now going to move to live chat and emails, see if there's anyone who's sent any responses or sent any questions. Just going to log in here and have a look, see at what the world has to say. Give some time because it takes about 30 seconds for that to take place. It's always the hardest part when you got to sit back and wait. Let's have a look here. Oh, well, we don't want to show that. There we go. Can you tell it's my second show? Yeah, probably. Yeah, my webmaster just let me know that there was a big blank square in the middle of the screen. I got it. I got it covered. Okay, very good. Seeing no questions today, I look forward to everyone providing me feedback, input, anything you'd like about the show. Tomorrow, we're going to discuss what living in the now means and how that is incorporated in our lives. What does that even mean, living in the now? We're going to talk about that tomorrow. I am looking for a business to promote, so if you could please send that to me let's pop it up again. I just love plugging this show. It is my favorite hobby right now. Just throw it in. You can send us an email, wewin@timeconsultinginc.com. You can also subscribe to our newsletter, timeconsultinginc.com/newsletter, and it's an excellent way for you to become a part of the community of positivity. On Monday, I am searching for submissions of a kind deed, specifically relating to helping people with parking, whether that's giving away your parking spot or providing someone with the money to park. Just make sure to abide by your own local municipal laws, as some people from last night's show told me it's important to do. It may be illegal in your area, so please follow the law, but also make the world a better place. On tomorrow's show, again, Living in the Now, that's Wednesday at 8:30. And then on Friday, I'm very excited, Tali Shapiro will be joining us for social media, developing intimacy using technology. So, again, it's been really great having you here. I'm really excited to continue working on this show and to share it all with you. You can also subscribe now to our podcast. It's called We Win with Teeuwen. Let's see if I can find the original name of the show here. Well, I'll just type it out. How's that? That's always fun. So you can We win with Teeuwen. Yay. Oh, I see. I like to give people my stubs. I love... Someone did that for me once. I needed parking. Such a good story. I needed parking. I was going into a municipal parking area for, I forget, medical lab tests. And when I went in, I said, I need parking right now. And this woman out of nowhere just showed up and brought me this parking stub. And it saved me like $1.50. Nothing serious, but it really made my day. And that was probably about 5-6 months ago now that I think about it. That made me feel just amazing. I was just like, wow, thank you so much. So thank you, kind lady, for that. Join our podcast. You can also download it at www.timeconsultinginc.com/podcasts. If you just want to get the raw footage here, that's also something that's available. Let's do that. Center it. Boom. And we're done. So there you are. timeconsultinginc.com/podcast. And you can also search on iTunes for We Win with Teeuwen, and the show will come up with the most latest show. You can subscribe to our feed and then become a part of the regular community every day. You won't even need to think about it. You'll just be a part of it. So, again, I want to thank everyone for joining us today. I really appreciate you all being here, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Later days.
Walk through your favorite part of town. Nothing to do, just looking around, and I swear slow motion, snowflake on your cheek. Yeah, we're breathing out clouds. You look up at me and I swear I'm a sucker for those blue eyes. Oh, why do they close every time I try?